Hello all, we're here for one more lesson of this AutoCAD 2016 training course, and the topic for today it's called Understanding Printer Settings. So as we've seen in our previous lesson, when we want to print or plot, so we come to this AutoCAD icon, we go to print function and we get a lot of options. Basically, I will call you about two of these options. The first one, the plot, we've seen that opens the dialog box where we can make the settings of all the topics related with the printing. And in these remaining icons here, we have a lot of them. We can define these topics, related topics, but all of them are possible to do inside of this function. Okay, so let us see plotting, and what we have here are the settings to make the plot. So starting page setup, we can have a previous setup that we can save and import. So if we do the add, we just give it a name and we can save the setup. In here we can define a printer or a plotter for as an output device for this. So I will say in this particular case Windows System Printing. So inside we can have the properties defined and all of these normal parameters for a Windows device. We can make this print to a file and print it later, okay, without just activating the function. Then we have the paper size. We can choose from a lot of them and say number of copies. Then plot area, what to plot. We have a couple of options. We can plot what is displayed at the moment. The extents is the area, the maximum area where we have entities in the drawing area. The define limits or window, and then it will allow you to open a window. Okay. If it is the display, no option will be here. If it is the window, then we can set this. Okay. We can make an offset, and an offset is, for example, if the sheet of paper has a different origin from the area that is to be printed, or we can just say center the plot. I will return to the main option. Then we can have a scale. In the scale it can be done as fit to paper, or we can use a scale and then things will be fitted inside on the defined scale. Okay, we can have these also scale line weights. It is something that we are going to see on a deeper detail in one of the future lessons. But the line weights can be scaled also according to the size of your drawing. Then we have this plot style where we can define this table of thickness and colors. We can have a shaded plot, and we have a lot of options here as displayed. We can have these in wireframes or hidden, and we can have these shades that we are going to see better when we start to talk about the 3D. But I think it is important to have the idea that we can have a shaded plot, and then you can define the quality from draft to maximum or customized by the user with the DPIs. Then still regarding a couple of options, we can plot this as background process. We can plot the line weights, we can apply transparency to objects, and we can plot with plot styles, and plot styles give you a very high control over what is defined on the parameters. We can have a stamp also, and we can define the settings for the stamp. Okay, I will not use this, I think it's not very important. And we can save the changes to a layout also. As per last, we have the orientation of the drawing being a portrait or landscape on the other direction, or as a plot upside down. So after all of this it is done, then we can make a preview, and it will show you what you have defined. Then if you think it's not okay, then do the ask, and you'll return to this dialog box where you can change the settings to put it okay. In this particular case, let's make a fit to paper. Let us try again, basically the same, but it has to do with the sizes and so on. So I hope these explanations were clear about the settings and how you can play with these settings to make your definitions according to your needs.